Hi, and welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Definitely for today's practice, you'll want to have at least one block and a strap or something long that's like a strap. And let's start in Hero's Pose, some way of sitting with your knees in front of you and your toes pointing straight behind you. You might even like to prop your pelvis up on a blanket or a pillow. To safely align your knees, have your knees no wider apart than your hips distance, and make sure that your feet are neither turned out or turned in. So I have a question. In what ways have you today tuned in to your heart, centering on what your emotions are telling you in the present moment? Remember that I quoted Nischala Joy Devi, who wrote The Secret Power of Yoga, which is our book club for this month and on. And she defined yoga as the uniting of consciousness in the heart. Dr. Shauna Shapiro, who is author of The Art and Science of Mindfulness, defines self-compassion, or says about self-compassion, that it gives us the courage to see things clearly. There's a lot of talk about self-love. And yes, I also agree that it's very important. And self-compassion is instrumental in practicing self-love. So what is self-compassion? Dr. Kristen Neff, who is co-founder of the Center for Mindful Self-Compassion, defines it as a practice of goodwill, not good feelings necessarily. With self-compassion, we mindfully accept that whatever moment may be painful and embrace ourselves with kindness and care in response. Remembering that imperfection is part of our shared human experience. We're going to dive a little more into a specific meditation, practicing self-compassion in Friday's Flow and Restore Yoga, where we have a longer meditation experience. But for today's practice, how do you take moments of pause anytime throughout the practice? Even when you're in Vinyasa Flow, you can pause in a sense internally to consciously check in with yourself. Check in how you're exerting your physical body and how that's feeling for you, and maybe how you are balancing effort with easefulness. We talked a lot about that last week. And even how you are honoring what's present for you mentally, energetically, emotionally, in the moment. And for all of us, we've got unique things happening. Even if you've been practicing many, many years, today is a different moment, or today is a different practice, and each moment is different. So how do you tune into your heart? How do you tune in to the different layers of self? Just like we check in the beginning, but throughout the practice. Let's begin checking in. You might close your eyes as you let your body find a still, comfortable position that's upright, and start to notice throughout your body any sensations. And in the practice of mindful self-compassion, cultivating an attitude of carrying curiosity and non-judgment. So now, observing your physical state, begin to notice the quality of your natural breath. Noticing anything you feel about your breathing. And through this, becoming more aware of how you feel energetically. Then tune into your mind and allow a moment to observe its activities. Notice if there's any kinds of thoughts that are patterning, any emotions you're experiencing. You might even place your hands at your heart center as you acknowledge what's here now. Allow the breath to gently deepen. Maybe exhaling a few times out to your lips. And as you're slowing your breath down, call to heart anything in any aspect of your life that you find contentment or enjoyment with. Cultivating gratitude. And from here, start to define for yourself what your intention is for this practice. What are you choosing to direct your focus on and invite into your experience? And creating resonance together as we share our practice. Let's join our voices, chanting Om 3 times. Inhale a little deeper. Continuing to regulate your breathing. Let's practice Ujjayi Pranayama, a way to steady your mental focus while inviting your body and mind to relax. Softly narrowing the back of your throat. If you can, continue to breathe with your lips closed, so just through the nose, while sustaining the breath evenly in and out, creating a very soft and smooth whispering sound. Use the sound to gauge how you are balancing your energy, so that if you hear the sound of your breathing become erratic or choppy, that's a good signal for you to tune in with your body and see if you need to back off in a posture, slow down, or take rest, knowing you always have those options. So as you keep your sound rhythm gently audible, please take your straps, still sitting in hero's pose, and take a moment as you're rooting your 2 sitting bones down to actively lengthen through the front and the back of your spine, where you are hugging in the bottom of your front ribs and relaxing your shoulders down so your neck feels spacious. Keeping those 2 things especially, hold the strap between your hands with your hands wider than your shoulders distance apart. I'm gonna show you sideways. And have a taut grip of the strap so it's not hanging loose, it's a straight line, keeping the shoulders relaxed and your arms straight. We're gonna start to warm up the shoulders here. So on an inhale, lift your arms overhead. If you need to space the hands wider apart, you can do that. Exhale the hands all the way behind you and down. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale them forward and down. Keep going as slowly as you can hear the breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down. So being mindful, especially as you raise your arms, to keep your shoulders resting down, not shrugging them, and to keep your front ribs, the bottom front ribs, hugging inward towards the back of your body. Keep going for another maybe 5 cycles of breath. And if you find that your shoulders are becoming warmer, you can step the hands closer together. As you're doing this, feel into the muscles in your face, keeping your eyes and jaw relaxed. So finish the breath that you're on, and then hold the strap in your left hand as you raise the left arm and dangle the tail of the strap behind your back. With your right hand, rotate your left outer upper arm or tricep forward so that broadens across the top of your left shoulder. Bending the elbow behind your head, press both of your shoulders down and reach the right hand behind you underneath to catch the other end of the strap. Then walk your hands as close together as you can. Maybe you clasp the fingers, maybe not. Hug in the bottom of your front ribs again as you're sitting tall, lifting the chin parallel to the floor. A few deep breaths here. See if you can keep the left elbow pointing upwards towards the crown of your head rather than flaring out to your left side. As you keep lengthening your lower spine by firming in your lower belly and slightly lifting it towards your heart, if available, begin to create a back bend by tilting from right underneath your shoulder blades, your chest slightly towards the sky. About 3 more breaths. Keep relaxing your shoulder heads down. As you press your hips downward, inhale, raise your left arm, lifting your spine more vertically. Wrapping the right arm behind you, exhale, twist to your right, turning the rib cage, but keeping your pelvis still. Lower your left hand, whether on your lap or cross the hand outside your right thigh, and keep lengthening the spine with each in-breath. Continue to twist with each out-breath. Twisting right underneath your lowest ribs. You might turn your head in the opposite direction. A couple more deep breaths. And then as you exhale, release. Let's take the strap in your right hand. And as you're raising the right arm, dangle the tail of the strap behind you. With your left hand, externally rotate your right upper arm bone in the shoulder socket. Bend the elbow behind your head and press both shoulder blades down. Reach the left hand underneath, catch the other end of the strap, and walk your hands as close together as you can. If your fingers clasp, you can drop the strap. Sitting up a little taller, hug your bottom front ribs in towards your back while creating a natural space through all the sides of your neck. Tuning into your breath. If it's available, begin to create a gentle back bend so that right underneath your shoulder blades or scapula is where you're tilting your chest towards the sky. Releasing the shoulders further down. About 3 more breaths. As you press your pelvis downward, inhale, wrap the left arm behind you, raise the right arm, get a little taller through the spine. Exhale, begin to twist to your left side, either resting the right arm on your lap or pressing the back of the hand against your outer left thigh. Inhale, keep lengthening, and exhale, continue to twist. Still relaxing the shoulders down, invite a broadening across your collarbone so your chest feels expansive. Couple last breaths, you might turn your gaze in the opposite direction. And with your exhale, release. Let's make our way to the top of your mat, standing in mountain pose. You may want to place your blocks in front of your feet for our sun salutations. So as you come to stand in mountain pose, separate your feet hips distance or wider apart and parallel to each other. Bring your hands together in prayer at your heart center. coming back to your intention for your practice. And even a pause to check in with what you're feeling at the heart right now. Empty this breath. Let's start Sun Salutation C, Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, and from under the shoulder blades, gently tilt your chest up, rotate your triceps forward, and gaze up. As you exhale, bowing from the hips, cultivate a long spine, so if needed, bend your knees. Plant your fingertips on the ground or blocks outside your heels. Inhale, step your left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge and gaze up. While holding your breath, step into your version of plank pose, legs straight or knees on the ground. Exhale into Ashtangasana, where you lower the knees, chest, then chin, sticking your tailbone up. Inhale, slide forward, entering Cobra pose, grounding the tops of your feet. Exhale, lift your pelvis back into downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb and lower your right knee, gazing up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, rising into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart center. Once more, inhale, sweep your arms in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow towards your legs in Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips down. Inhale, this time step the right knee back in Anjaneyasana, gazing up. As you hold your breath, step into your version of plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slide forward into Cobra pose or Bhujangasana. Exhale, lift your hips back to Downward Dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb, lower your left knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, raise your arms overhead in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands to meet at your heart center. Let's move into one Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale your arms again overhead. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. This time either press your fingertips on your legs, blocks, or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your chest forward in Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Step into your version of plank, and this time Chaturanga Dandasana, glide forward as you exhale, bend the elbows to hug your side ribs, and either lower to Cobra or lift the chest here in Upward Facing Dog. Exhale, contract your belly to lift your tailbone into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's hold still, steadying your gaze on one spot as you listen to 3 deep breaths. When you reach the bottom of the 3rd exhale, holding your breath out, walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat. There, press with your fingertips and inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Press with your feet. Inhale, rise to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale your hands together in Padasana. Let's move into Sun Salutation B, Surya Namaskar B. As you bring your feet together, let the inner edges of your big toes touch, preparing for chair pose or Utkatasana. Exhale this breath out. We'll continue to move with the breath. Then bend your knees to touch. As you inhale, maybe graze the floor with your fingertips and keep your hips that low, leaning back towards the heels, raising the arms. Utkatasana. Exhale, shift your weight forward, then hinge from your hips. Uttanasana. Press with your hands and inhale, lengthen forward to Ardha Uttanasana. Either step back to plank to lower or lightly float into Chaturanga Dandasana. Continue through your Vinyasa in Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. And we'll meet in Downward Facing Dog. Let's keep going. Inhale, keep your hips leveled as you raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, slowly step your right foot lightly forward beside your right thumb and spin your left heel down. Facing forward, inhale, rise up to stand in Warrior One. Exhale, lower into plank, continue down into your Vinyasa. Breathing in to Cobra or Upward Dog. When you arrive at downward facing, keep your hips balanced and inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, gently step the foot forward beside your left thumb and spin your right heel down. Inhale, rise to stand in Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your Vinyasa. Let's pause again for 3 deep breaths in downward facing dog. Steady gaze or drishti to cultivate mental focus. Here you can pause and do a quick check-in. When you finish your third out breath, walk or float to the front of your mat. With feet touching, inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. With knees touching, inhale, sit back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale to rise up to Padasana. Let's take that sequence one more time. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Walk to plank or float into Chaturanga Dandasana. Take it through your Vinyasa at your pace of breath. Continuing at your pace of breath, when you arrive at downward facing, inhale, raise your right leg, keep the hips leveled. Exhale the foot forward beside right thumb, drop the left heel. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower to flow into your Vinyasa. When you arrive at downward dog, no rush. Take it at your pace of breath to side 2, and we'll meet again in downward facing. Three breaths, slowing down in and out. Recognizing what's present here for you now. And how might you honor that? When you're ready, on emptied breath, walk or lightly jump to the top. With feet touching, inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to Uttanasana. Inhale into Utkatasana. Exhale to Padasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Let's meet in downward dog, whether you choose to add another vinyasa, take a few rounds of cat-cow, or directly step into downward facing. When you arrive in Adho Mukha Svanasana, spend a few breaths fine-tuning the space you're creating across your shoulders and along the length of your neck. So as you spread the hands, shoulders width apart and index fingers pointing straight ahead or slightly turned out, keep your hands still, and just like we did in cow face pose arms in the beginning with a strap, spin your triceps towards the floor, spreading the shoulder blades apart. And as you relax your neck, lift the shoulder blades away from it and onto your back ribs. Now hug the front ribs in, and press the front tops of your thigh bones back, sinking the heels further down. Now, as you keep your hips balanced in height by firming the outer hips towards each other, inhale, raise your right leg behind you and flex the foot. Pause and breathe here. So as you're spiraling the inseam of your right thigh towards the sky, if you look down under your belly, you should see that your right knee and toes are pointing directly downward. Now tack your left outer hip back and press evenly through both hands as you inhale to press the instep of your right foot further back. Exhaling, lift your right knee as high as you can towards your nose so that you're rounding your back forward in plank. And as slowly as you can, softly step the right foot beside the right thumb. Stay on the ball of your left foot in a high lunge and take one of your blocks in your hands. Isometrically scissor the legs towards each other to stabilize you as you rise up into crescent pose. Now let's set up the legs first, making sure your legs are hips width apart, parallel to each other. In an effort to keep your pelvic bowl upright, not tilting forward, you might bend the left knee to start. Rotate your left outer hip forward while bending the right knee just on top of the ankle. Draw your right outer hip back. Then find a slight lift of your frontal hip bones so that you feel your lower belly is active. Now keeping that, sandwich the block by the widest width between your two palms, extending your arms forward, plug the shoulders into their sockets and down. Spin your outer upper arms or triceps towards the floor so that your pinky finger edges are pressing more firmly into the block than your thumbs, which might be peeling away from the block. Keeping all of that, just as much as you can keep the shoulders down away from the neck, start to lift your arms straight towards overhead. How's your breath? Feel your triceps engage as you firm the pinky finger edges into the block. Be mindful to hug your bottom front ribs in towards your back as you lengthen the front and back of your spine. 2 more breaths here. Spin your left heel to the ground and align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Rotating the right hip under you, straighten the right leg with a micro bend in the right knee. We're gonna take a hands-free version of triangle pose in which you can opt to then move into traditional extended triangle. So plug the shoulders down the back, holding the block more between the pinky fingers. Keep your arms as straight as you can. Steady your breath. Slide your pelvis sideways towards your rear wall and lengthen your torso towards your front wall, coming into a lateral extension of your spine. That slight bend in the right knee is to activate the muscles that support surrounding the knee, so you're not dumping into the knee joint. As you keep directing your tailbone towards your left heel, spiral your chest slightly to face the sky and continue to send the shoulder blades down your back, hugging your front ribs in. Remember, you have the option of lowering the block on the right side of your right calf and keeping the left arm extended overhead. We're here for 3 more breaths in Trikonasana. Steady your gaze. Set the block down and bend your right knee into Warrior 2, opening the arms wide. Steady your gaze just past your right hand and center your spine by stacking your shoulders right above your hips. Centering your spine between your feet and between your hands. Virabhadrasana 2. Without actually moving your legs, imagine you're dragging the feet towards each other as you lift your pelvic floor. 2 more breaths. Deep breath in. Exhale your hands to the floor. Optional vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. As you pause a few breaths, checking in with your body. Sense any difference between the left and right sides, if any. Triceps rotating down, shoulder blades on the upper back. Keep your hips leveled and inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you pause and breathe here, turn the left outer hip down so that if you look under your belly, you can see the left knee and toes facing straight down. Tack your right outer hip back and press evenly through both palms. Inhale, press the instep of your left foot towards your rear wall. Exhale, contract your belly, lifting the left knee as high as you can towards your nose, coming forward to plank. Slow motion, step the left foot beside the left thumb. Maybe hover it for a moment. Stay on the ball of your right foot with your feet hips distance apart. Take a block, isometrically drag the feet towards each other to rise up. And then again, you might bend the right knee as you're bringing your pelvic bowl more to an upright and neutral position, while squaring both hips to evenly face forward. Then sandwich the block between your two palms, both arms straight ahead. Draw the shoulder bones back and down. Spin your triceps towards the floor so that you can feel your pinky fingers more assertively pressing into the block. Hug your front ribs in, and breath by breath, raise your arms towards overhead. Back off if your shoulders start to shrug, meaning bring the arms more in front of you if needed. So with your arms overhead, continue to spin your triceps forward and draw the shoulder blades onto the back ribs. One more deep breath. Spin the right heel down and align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. Straightening your left leg for triangle, micro bend the left knee. Lengthen through the sides of your torso and start to peel the hips towards the rear wall while lengthening your spine towards your front wall. With arms as straight as you can, keep hugging the pinky finger sides more into the block as you spiral your chest towards the sky and hug your front ribs in. Remember, you have the option of lowering the block along the left side of your left leg and coming into extended triangle. As you steady your gaze, listen to 3 more slow breaths. Lower the block and bend your left knee just over your ankle, entering Virabhadrasana 2. Right away, landing your gaze with intention. Deep breath in. Optional vinyasa or cat-cow, or maybe a moment in child's pose. What does self-compassion mean for you at this point of your practice? Let's meet in downward facing dog. Few deep breaths. Keeping your hips leveled again, inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, cross the knee to touch your left elbow as you shift forward to plank. Then again, very slowly step the right foot beside the right thumb and lower the back knee, kneeling lunge. Rising up, extending your arms overhead in Anjaneyasana. Let's integrate what we've been doing with a block without the block. So rotate your triceps forward and press your shoulder blades down while hugging the bottom of your front ribs in and directing your tailbone downward and slightly forward towards your inner right heel. while scissoring your right outer hip back. Now, as you keep your elbows exactly your shoulders distance apart, look at them as you need to, and then bring your fingertips together like air prayer hands. Bending your elbows, imagine you're hugging that wide block across them, while tracing your thumbs down the back of your head and maybe as far down as the back of your neck. Right under your shoulder blades, begin to bend the back, tilting your chest and gaze up.
Our only bones.
Last few breaths here.
Is how much we gave. How much.
Tuck your left toes and bringing your hands together at your heart, lift the back knee and tilt your torso forward to a diagonal in a variation of Degasana. Now you could choose to extend the arms back by your sides with palms face down, or adding rigor if the lower back is okay with it, extend the arms overhead with or without a block between your palms. Keep scissoring your right hip back, rotating your left outer hip forward as you lift your navel towards your spine. Cupping the right hand on the top of the right thigh, let's prepare to twist. Lengthen your spine further forward as you inhale. And across your waistline, twist to the right, either lowering the left hand on a block or the floor on the inside of your leg and raising the right arm, or going further and hooking the elbow outside of your right thigh, whether you open the arms apart there, join the hands in prayer, or maybe move into a bind. Either way, keep your two hips leveled in height and continue to lengthen your spine forward with each in-breath. Spiraling your rib cage with each out-breath. This is a variation of twisting side angle pose, Parita Parshvakonasana. As you steady your gaze, tune into 3 more breaths. Gazing down at your right foot, lower your hands and blocks to the floor to frame it so that you can step the left foot forward 1/3 shorter stance, dropping the heel and straightening your legs while squaring the hips forward. Take your strap, bring your hands to your hips, and inhale to rise. Let's prepare for pyramid pose with your arms in cow face pose. Like we did in the very beginning, raise your left arm, holding the strap, dangle it behind you. Rotate your left tricep forward, bring the elbow behind your head and press your shoulders down. Reach the right hand behind, catch the other end of the strap, and walk your hands as close together as you can. Maybe dropping the strap if you can clasp the hands. Spreading your toes, root down through your feet and activate the energy in your legs and belly while inhaling to tilt your chest up. Leading from your chest, exhale, start to hinge from your hips, bowing towards your right inner calf. Breath by breath, inhale, root down through the feet and lengthen the spine. Keep your hips leveled as you exhale to keep folding just to your range of motion, keeping the neck long. Parshvakonasana with your arms in Gomukhasana. Option to keep your arms like this as we enter Warrior 3, or to join your hands in prayer or place your hands on blocks in front of your front foot. Put a little bend in your right knee and lift your chest forward, tilting your weight onto your right foot as you raise the left leg straight back. Like we practice squaring our hips in 3-legged downward dog. Rotate your left outer hip towards the ground and tack your right outer hip back. Virabhadrasana 3. Slowly step the left foot all the way back to Warrior 1. Inhale your arms overhead in Virabhadrasana 1. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Sense the quality of your breathing. As you continue to cultivate a feeling state of balance in the breath. When you're ready, inhale, raise your left leg, keeping your hips squared. Exhale, cross the knee to tap your right elbow in plank, and very slowly step the left foot forward into a kneeling lunge. With arms overhead, roll your triceps forward and press your shoulder blades onto your back ribs. Bending the elbows, press your fingertips into air prayer. While tracing your thumbs down the back of your skull and neck, keep your elbows no wider apart than shoulders distance. This helps to keep the shoulders broad. Drawing your tailbone down and slightly towards your inner left heel. Scissor your left outer hip back. Hug the bottom of your front ribs in. And from right under your shoulder blades, create the back bend of tilting your chest towards the sky. 3 more breaths. Tucking your right toes, come up to a high lunge with your hands together at your heart, arms by your sides, or reaching forward, holding an imaginary or real block. Tilt your torso forward to hover your belly off your left thigh in a version of Degasana. Join your hands in prayer. Actually, let's cup the left hand on the top of the left thigh, preparing to twist. Inhale, keep lengthening through your center line. As you exhale, twist into the first version of what you practiced on the first side. Either right hand down, left arm up, or hook the elbow outside the thigh. Hands in prayer, arms apart, or bind. Then continue to explore the range of your twists for about 5 more breaths in Parita Parshvakonasana. Looking at your left foot, lower your hands to frame it so that you can step the right foot forward 1/3 shorter stance. Dropping both heels, straighten both legs. Take your strap with you and rise up to prepare for pyramid pose with hands or arms in cow face pose. So right arm up, strap behind you, rotate right tricep forward, elbow behind the head. Shoulders down as you reach the left hand under. Maybe the hands clasp. Spread your toes, energize your leg and your belly, or your legs and your belly. Inhale, tilt your heart up. Hinging from your hips, exhale, extend your heart forward, breath by breath, keeping your hips evenly facing forward. In Parshvakonasana, with your arms in Gomukhasana. Put a micro bend in the left knee as you lift the chest and gaze forward on the ground, tilting into Virabhadrasana 3. Lifting the right leg from the inseam as you flex the foot. Drawing the left hip back as you lengthen your spine forward. Remember, you can choose the variation of your arms. Hands in prayer, keep Gomukhasana, hands in blocks. Slowly step into Warrior 1, dropping the back heel with front knee bent. Inhale, raise your arms. This time, keep your left knee bent and step the right foot to touch the left in chair pose. Extend your arms forward And imagine you're gliding your glutes down a wall, lowering to sit on the ground. Take one of your blocks by the skinniest width and firm it between your knees and thighs. As your feet are separated as wide apart as your knees, parallel your feet with each other, and once again, extend your arms forward, palms up, shoulders down. As you hug your front ribs in, take your time, very slowly, lowering onto your back. When your head meets the earth, bring your arms down by your sides and slide your heels back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. Make sure your feet are still apart and parallel to each other, and root them down firmly as you ground your shoulders. Now, as you raise your arms towards the sky, as if you're hugging a block between your pinky fingers, rotate your triceps towards the front of your room and bend your elbows. Now, options here. Plant your fingertips on the ground alongside your ears, creating spider hands, so the fingertips are facing the back wall, or flip your palms, flexing at the wrist, and plant the palms towards flat alongside your ears, so your fingertips are facing your shoulders and slightly turned out. Now look at your elbows. Imagine you're hugging a wide width between them. Keep your elbows exactly shoulders distance, not wider. Draw the shoulders down your back, and with your arms like this, we're going to enter bridge pose. So isometrically, dragging your heels towards your glutes without visibly moving them. Inhale, tilt your tailbone up and stretch the fronts of your thighs forward, lifting the hips. For 5 to 10 breaths, your count. Spiraling your inner thighs slightly towards the earth. Broaden your collarbones with your breath, tilting your chin slightly away from your chest to open your throat. So this is bridge pose with your arms preparing for upward facing bow. When you decide that you're ready to come down, with a slow exhalation, imagine you could kiss the ground one vertebra at a time, tailbone last. Keep the block where it is, and then just relax the arms for a moment. You might want to circle the hands at the wrists if you had been flexing at the wrists. All right. 2 more back bends. You could choose to take the same thing on your own for 5 to 10 breaths. If you're done with shoulders and flexion, which has been our theme, you could bring the arms underneath you towards traditional bridge, which is the opposite, shoulders and extension. Or if you want to go further, keep the palms flipped, elbows no wider than shoulders width, and follow me through the steps towards upward facing bow. Urdhva Dhanurasana. Establish your breath. Root down to your feet and towards upward bow. Begin by lifting your hips like bridge. Isometrically drag the heels back while actively stretching your thighs forward, hugging the block. Next, bring the crown of your head to the floor. With more weight on your hands, you might step the hands slightly wider apart. Make sure the elbows stay shoulders distance. If your body gives you the sign that it's ready to keep going, push off your hands. Make sure you're still hugging the block and you're still paralleling your feet. Isometrically drag the heels towards your glutes and stretch the fronts of your thighs forward. Feel the back bend mostly right under your shoulder blades. When you're done, 5 to 10 breaths. Take the stages in reverse. Bring the top of your head to the floor, pause. And begin to lower upper back, one vertebra at a time. And release the arms, maybe roll out the hands. Choose what you'll practice for your last back bend. Bridge, upward bow, or bow. Now, bow is the opposite of what we've been doing to the shoulders. So if you're ready for a counterbalancing posture, I invite you to flip onto your stomach for Dhanurasana. Sliding the knees close together, bend your knees, reach back with your arms, catch your outer or inner feet. And as you kick your feet away from you, hold them towards you, lifting your knees. Have your knees no wider apart than your hips distance. And find the area under your shoulder blades to tilt the chest forward while looking slightly down. 5 to 10 breaths. When you're done, drop everything and rest for a few breaths. Observing your body. Please gently press yourself up to sit. Let's come into a seated spinal twist to help neutralize your spine. Extend your left leg forward and step your right foot on the ground, either in front of your right hip or crossed outside your left knee, in which you might choose to bend the left knee. Make sure you're able to ground both sitting bones and lengthen the spine while relaxing the shoulders. Place the right hand behind your pelvis, raise your left arm, and root down with the hips as you inhale to lengthen up to your crown. Exhale, twist to your right. Either hold your right leg with the left arm or hook your elbow outside of the thigh. About 5 deep breaths. You exhale, unwind your spine, and bring the legs into cow face pose where you crisscross the thighs. If it tilts you off balance, you could straighten the left leg forward and flex the foot. Rooting your sitting bones, let's bring the arms into eagle pose. Crossing the left elbow over the right, press the backs of the hands against each other or wrap your forearms in palms. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, begin to bow forward, breath by breath. Press down through your hips. Inhale, slowly rise up. Backstroke the arms apart and stretch the legs forward. Let's set up for the twist. Same way if you can as you did on the first side. Step the left foot in front of the hip or crossed outside your right knee. Maybe bend the right knee too. Left hand behind your pelvis, raise your right arm. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, twist. Lower your right arm or hold or hook the elbow. About 5 breaths. Emptying this breath, unwind your spine and hug your thighs even closer together for cow face pose in your legs. Again, if it tilts you off balance, straighten your right leg and flex the foot. Bending your elbows apart, cross the right elbow over the left for eagle arms. Backs of the hands pressing together or wrap forearms in palms. Sitting up a little taller, breathe in. Exhale as you hinge forward. Pressing down to your hips, inhale to slowly rise up. Find a way to sit comfortably as we practice a brief grounding pranayama. Let me just change the music for that. So sitting tall and relaxed. You might place your hands in a mudra that offers you a bhavanam or feeling tone that matches your intention. Equanimity or neutrality of mind as palms face up, center of the lap, thumb tips touching. So let's practice Samavriti Pranayama, which is box breathing, where we close the lips, just breathe through the nose if you can. Inhale for a count of 4, hold the breath, count of 4, exhale a count of 4, and hold the breath for a count of 4. So to prepare to start, exhale this breath completely out. And inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Round 2. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Round 3. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. 2 more cycles on your own. When you're finished, relax into natural breathing, resting your awareness on your breath and noticing how you feel physically, energetically, mentally, emotionally. Please find a comfortable way to rest your body on the ground, lying down in corpse pose, Shavasana, for a few minutes. as you rest here with eyes closed, once again observe any sensations in your physical body. Notice how you feel physically. And begin to very slowly and gently wake up your body, starting with small movements and easing into a simple stretch. Eventually, turning over onto your right side and resting your head. Once there, notice your breathing and feel your energy. Take your time to lift your body up and find a comfortable seat to be still in for 5 minutes of meditation. Rest your hands in any mudra you choose. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze. And let's begin. Sense what feels alive in your heart at this moment. Notice how you're feeling in your mind, mentally and emotionally. You might join your palms together at your heart, calling to mind something that you appreciate. Remembering your intention for this practice. And remembering to whom or what you dedicated this practice. Let's close together, chanting 3 ohms. Inhale. Bowing in, honoring the light within. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.